Senior Congress leader Shankar Aiyar, who is also a former union minister, has recently suggested in an article in a leading newspaper that former President Pranab Mukherjee might have a bigger role to play within the Congress party now that he has left Rashtrapati Bhavan. This becomes even more significant in the light of recent events and the doldrums in which the Congress and the opposition finds itself ahead of 2019. We're joined now by Shankar Aiyar himself. Thank you for speaking with BloombergQuint, sir. I read your piece in the Indian Express recently in which you have suggested that Pranab Mukherjee, now that he is free of his constitutional duties, could have a larger role to play. What role do you see for him?
I didn't say that. What I said is that if he chose to, that was specifically underlined. I said if he chose to, I'm sure the Congress would welcome the wealth of his knowledge and his deep experience, and also the perspectives, the precedents, the policies, the principles that he carries in his mind and could bring to our service in terms of just advising as to what we might do or might not do to resume our rise from the nadir to the zenith. I've just literally quoted the words that I've said. So I leave it entirely to President Mukherjee to decide whether he even wants to have anything to do with the Congress. That will be his decision. But I as a congressman feel that were he to feel that he could advise us from time to time, quietly, on the side, I'm sure it will be beneficial to the party.
So when you suggest that he could have an advisory role, is this just your personal view or a view shared by other Congress leaders and largely within the party?
I have expressed only a personal view because I was asked by the Indian Express to write what I thought about it. I didn't consult anyone else. And it is my view that since he is, although a little over 80 years old, he's in excellent health, he's in fine fettle, and I expect that he's going to be with us for many, many more years to come. And therefore, if his wealth of political experience were to be made available to us in any form that he deems appropriate, that would be to our advantage. Of course, if he were to decide that he doesn't want to be involved in any way with his former party, there's nothing we can do about that.
You describe the party in your piece as being at its nadir. What, according to you, is plaguing the party today?
Well, we've suffered a huge setback in 2014. We are down to what is by far, perhaps by nearly 100 seats, the lowest position that we've ever attained in any election. We have to claw our way back. And since it has been Pranabda's view that the Congress is the natural party of governance, that is an ideal that I subscribe to as well, I would hope that he might be able to assist us by even a quiet word on how we can get back to being either the natural party of governance or as the natural party of governance to be able to put together a coalition that will end Modi rule in 2019.
So is there a lack of leadership in the Congress party?
I don't see a leadership crisis at all because the Congress party accepts without reservation Sonia Gandhi's current leadership and the prospect of her being succeeded by Rahul Gandhi. So there's no crisis of leadership. But perhaps in the kind of advice that gets the inputs that a leader receives, if somebody of the stature and experience of Pranab Mukherjee were to give his advice, were to give his counsel, I think it would be invaluable. But whether he will or not is really up to him.
What is your assessment specifically of Rahul Gandhi? Because a lot of his critiques say that he is unable to lead the party from the front, and that is perhaps one of the reasons why the party is in its current state.
My assessment is a historical one. Exactly the same thing was said of Indira Gandhi in January of 1966. And when Lohia called her a Gungi Gudiya. It became the defining description of this lady until she proved that she was actually a Durga Mata. In a similar way, when Rajiv Gandhi took over, they said, but what is his qualification except the womb from which he was born? And yet everybody would agree that 1985 was his great honeymoon year, when people thought this was an astonishingly able Prime Minister who's come to serve the country. When Sonia Gandhi took over in 1998, I was one of her principal lieutenants at that stage. She didn't know how to speak to the press for about a full year after that. And it was only subsequently that she emerged as such a strong leader that she was able to take the Congress party to power for all of 10 years, one full decade. So as far as I am able to gauge from my personal interaction with Rahul Gandhi, like all these predecessors I mentioned, as and when he really becomes the president of the Congress, that is when he will come into his own. And after that, we can ask the question that you've just asked. Personally, I have no doubt at all that he is the leader wanted by the Congress party, and he is the leader who will give the lead to the Congress party.
Thank you so much for speaking with BloombergQuint.
Thank you.
So that was Shankar Aiyar speaking with BloombergQuint, saying that Pranab Mukherjee could have a larger role to play within the Congress party if he so chooses, with his years of wisdom and experience. It of course remains to be seen whether Pranab Mukherjee wants to get back into the heat and dust of politics after his exit from Rashtrapati Bhavan.